Owning your presence without apology starts with truly accepting the space you take up in the world and refusing to shrink just because someone else is uncomfortable with your confidence. At an older age, you've already walked through seasons that tested you, broken you, and shaped you. You've been in rooms where your opinion wasn't valued, moments where you were told to quiet down, or situations where you felt invisible. But now, owning your presence means you decide that your voice has as much right to be heard as anyone else's, that your experiences matter, and that you don't need permission to stand tall. It's no longer about proving yourself to others. It's about embodying the truth that you have earned your place simply by being who you are and living the life you've lived. When you enter a room, the way you carry yourself communicates more than words ever could. People read your energy before they hear your voice. Shoulders back, chin lifted, and a steady gaze aren't just posture tips. They are a physical reflection of self-respect. You've reached a point in life where you don't need to beg for validation, and that naturally makes your presence magnetic. Owning your presence without apology means understanding that self-assurance isn't arrogance. It's the quiet, steady confidence that says, I know my worth, and I'm not here to diminish it for your comfort. Sometimes, owning your presence means not over-explaining yourself. In your younger years, you may have felt the need to justify every decision, explain every choice, and make sure everyone understood your intentions. But as a high-value woman in your older age, you recognize that not everyone is entitled to your reasoning. You speak clearly, you say what you mean, and you let your words stand without nervously filling the silence. Silence can be powerful when it's rooted in self-confidence and you no longer fear it. It's also about presence in your relationships, showing up fully and unapologetically as yourself. You don't hide parts of your personality to fit in or downplay your intelligence to make someone else feel secure. You've learned that shrinking yourself to keep others comfortable only leads to resentment, and you've decided you'd rather stand out for who you truly are than blend in for who you're pretending to be. That kind of authenticity becomes one of your strongest qualities, and people can feel it. Owning your presence without apology means understanding that you are the atmosphere you bring with you. The energy you radiate can either uplift a space or shrink it. So you choose intentionally. You walk into places with a calm authority, with warmth, and with the knowledge that you have something valuable to contribute. This isn't about taking over or demanding attention. It's about letting your authenticity be so evident that it commands respect without you having to chase it. This also involves embracing your age instead of hiding it. In a world obsessed with youth, you stand out by being unashamed of your years. They're proof of your resilience, your growth, your wisdom. You've survived things that would have broken others, and those experiences have given you a depth that can't be faked. By owning your age and the lessons that come with it, you silently challenge the idea that value fades with time. Most importantly, owning your presence without apology is about making peace with yourself, your story, your mistakes, your triumphs. You're not pretending to be perfect, you're comfortable being real. And that comfort with yourself radiates outward, influencing how others see you. People respond differently to a woman who knows who she is and doesn't feel the need to ask for permission to exist fully in that truth. Guarding your energy like it's gold means finally recognizing that not everyone and everything deserves access to you. As you get older, you realize your time and emotional bandwidth are not infinite resources. They are precious, limited, and worth protecting. You've learned through experience that saying yes to everything and everyone often means saying no to yourself, and that's a price you are no longer willing to pay. Guarding your energy is about becoming intentional with where you invest your attention, who you allow into your space, and what you give your emotional power to. It's no longer about pleasing people at the cost of your peace. It's about creating boundaries that preserve the best parts of you for what truly matters. There was probably a time when you felt guilty for stepping back from certain people or situations, as if you owed constant access to anyone who wanted it. But with age comes clarity, the understanding that you cannot pour from an empty cup. Guarding your energy is not selfish, it's survival for your mental, emotional, and physical well being. You've seen how certain environments can drain you, how certain conversations leave you feeling small, and how some people thrive off pulling you into their chaos. You stop volunteering for that drain. Instead, you start filtering your connections and commitments through a simple question: does this add to my life or take away from it? It also means being selective about the emotional battles you choose to engage in. Not every insult deserves a rebuttal, not every misunderstanding needs an explanation, and not every argument is worth winning. You learn that walking away isn't weakness, it's strategy. Energy is expensive, and you choose not to spend it on people or situations that are committed to misunderstanding you. Instead, you keep your emotional reserves for things that matter, for conversations that can actually move forward, for challenges that will grow you rather than drain you. Guarding your energy also extends to your daily habits. You pay attention to what you consume, not just food, but media, conversations, and environments. You notice how certain news cycles can fill you with fear, how constant scrolling can rob you of joy, and how gossip can cloud your perspective. So you choose wisely. You curate your life like someone guarding a vault, because that's exactly what your peace of mind is, a vault of priceless value that must be protected from unnecessary intrusion. This level of protection also demands boundaries that are not just spoken, but enforced. You learn that boundaries are only as strong as your willingness to uphold them. You stop explaining them over and over to those who violate them, and you stop apologizing for having them. You understand that people who respect you will respect your limits, and those who don't were never aligned with you in the first place. You start seeing your boundaries as the walls that keep out the storm, not the barriers that keep out opportunities. Guarding your energy requires you to be comfortable with solitude. You stop fearing quiet moments and start embracing them as opportunities to recharge. You realize that being alone doesn't mean you are lonely. It means you are giving yourself the space to think, to heal, to create, and to breathe without the noise of outside influence. Those moments of solitude become the foundation that strengthens your presence when you return to the world. At its core, guarding your energy like it's gold is about honoring the life you've built and the woman you've become. You've put too much work into your growth to allow it to be undone by careless people or draining situations. You value your time, your emotional balance, and your peace so highly that you refuse to gamble them on things that don't serve your highest self. Investing in lifelong learning means refusing to let your mind grow stagnant just because the world tells you you've reached a certain age. It's the decision to keep feeding your curiosity, to stay engaged with new ideas, and to keep your skills sharp so you remain adaptable in an ever-changing world. Over the years, you've already gathered a wealth of experience, but high-value women understand that wisdom is not just what you've learned in the past, it's also your willingness to keep learning now. This is how you stay relevant, not by chasing trends, but by remaining open to growth. It's about keeping your mind active so your perspective stays fresh, no matter how many candles are on the cake. When you choose to invest in lifelong learning, you send yourself a powerful message. I am still evolving. This mindset keeps you from falling into the trap of believing your best years are behind you. Instead, you see every day as a chance to expand your understanding of the world, whether that means reading books that challenge your thinking, learning a new skill, or exploring topics you've never had time for before. By doing this, you don't just keep up with the world, you enrich your own life in ways that make you more confident, capable, and fulfilled. Lifelong learning also keeps your conversations vibrant and your interactions engaging. When you continue to learn, you always have something new to contribute. Fresh perspectives, informed opinions, and valuable insights that make people want to hear what you have to say. You're not stuck repeating the same stories from decades ago. You're actively engaging with the present and shaping your future. This makes you magnetic because people sense your mental vitality and are drawn to it. It's not about proving intelligence, it's about sharing the energy that comes from staying curious. Investing in your growth also means stepping outside your comfort zone, even when it feels intimidating. It might mean enrolling in a class where everyone else is younger, trying a new language, or picking up a skill that challenges you in ways you haven't experienced in years. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. That willingness to be a beginner again keeps you humble and sharp. It reminds you that learning is a lifelong privilege, not something that stops when school ends. Technology is another area where this mindset pays off. While it can feel overwhelming, choosing to stay informed and capable in a tech-driven world ensures you remain connected and independent. You don't have to master everything, but being willing to adapt means you're never left behind. You learn the tools you need, you use them to your advantage, and you prove to yourself that growth is always possible. Lifelong learning also deepens your self-awareness. As you explore new subjects or skills, you uncover strengths you didn't know you had and interests you didn't realize you enjoyed. You might discover a talent for art, a fascination with history, or a love for public speaking. These discoveries add new layers to who you are, making your life richer and more meaningful. They remind you that your identity is not fixed. It's an ongoing creation shaped by what you choose to engage with. Ultimately, investing in lifelong learning means living with an open mind and a willingness to adapt. It's about recognizing that growth doesn't stop just because you've reached a certain age. In fact, it can accelerate because now you're learning on your own terms, driven by curiosity instead of obligation. You keep evolving not because you have to, but because you want to, and that choice alone keeps you vibrant, relevant, and unshakably valuable. Setting standards that inspire respect begins with knowing exactly what you stand for and refusing to compromise on it just to keep people around. It's about defining your values, your boundaries, and your expectations so clearly that they become non-negotiable in every interaction and relationship. When you set your standards high, you're not being difficult. You're communicating self-respect, and that respect naturally teaches others how to treat you. Over time, you realize that the people who push against your standards are usually the ones who benefit from you lowering them, and that's reason enough to hold them firm. Standards are not walls meant to keep love, opportunity, or connection away. They are filters that make sure only the right ones stay. One of the most powerful parts of setting strong standards is that it shifts your relationships from a place of desperation to a place of choice. You are no longer hoping to be chosen, you are doing the choosing. You've lived long enough to know that compatibility is more important than chemistry and that consistency is worth more than empty promises. By making your standards clear, you eliminate confusion. You save yourself from months or years of trying to turn the wrong people into the right ones. Those who are aligned will meet you where you are, and those who aren't will remove themselves, which is exactly what you want. Standards don't just apply to people. They apply to how you live your everyday life. This means deciding what you will and won't tolerate in your work environment, how you allow others to speak to you, and even the way you speak to yourself. You hold yourself to the same level of respect you expect from others. You no longer participate in situations that drain you or environments that lower your energy just because they're familiar. You choose to be intentional with your commitments, your surroundings, and your words because you understand that lowering your standards in one area eventually affects every other area. Setting standards that inspire respect also means being consistent in enforcing them. A standard that you don't uphold is just a suggestion, and people quickly learn whether you're serious about them or not. The first time someone crosses a line, you address it. Not with anger, but with clarity. You understand that how you respond teaches others what they can get away with, so you make sure your actions match your words. Consistency builds credibility, and credibility earns you a level of respect that cannot be faked. Sometimes this process requires letting go of people who are not willing to rise to meet you. It's not easy, but you understand that holding on to someone who disregards your standards will eventually erode your self-worth. You also realize that your standards are not meant to be adjusted to keep someone. They are meant to guide you toward people who value you without conditions. Letting go becomes less about loss and more about making space for something better. Setting strong standards also has a way of making you a role model without even trying. When others see you refusing to compromise your boundaries or values, it gives them permission to do the same in their own lives. Your courage to stand firm in what you believe becomes an example of self-respect in action. People notice, even if they don't say it out loud, and some will be quietly inspired to raise their own standards because of you. Ultimately, having standards that inspire respect is not about being perfect or rigid. It's about aligning your life with your worth. It's about making decisions from a place of self-assurance rather than fear. You're not trying to control everything. You're simply choosing not to settle for less than what honors your value, your peace, and your future. Leading with grace, not desperation, is about carrying yourself with a quiet confidence that doesn't beg for validation or force outcomes. It's knowing your value so deeply that you can move through situations without grasping at people's approval or chasing after what doesn't belong to you. Grace is strength wrapped in composure. It's the ability to handle challenges, disappointments, and even rejection without losing your dignity. As you grow older, you realize that desperation repels the very things you want, while grace draws them in naturally. People are drawn to a woman who radiates calm assurance, who is patient enough to let the right opportunities and relationships align without forcing them. When you lead with grace, you stop overreacting to every situation or feeling the need to prove yourself in every interaction. You're not in a rush to convince someone of your worth because you know it's already evident to those who truly see you. You learn to trust timing, understanding that not everything needs to happen immediately and that patience is often the most powerful move you can make. This doesn't mean you're passive. It means you take deliberate, measured steps, knowing that the right things will not require you to lose yourself in the process of obtaining them.